When you first spawn in as your game dev character, it's a beautiful time. Your stats are fluid, and every minute, hour, or day you work is a chance to boost them. But which character class are you building toward? Whether you're new to the craft or you've been exploring the overworld for years, in this video I want to give you an overview, a guided tour of the game dev job system. But let's start with how my silly little system works. I'm giving out skill points to 4 different stats: technology, aesthetics, charisma, and organization. It spells taco, but that wasn't on purpose. Technology is what you'd expect, being able to program and use a game engine. Aesthetics are for making visuals, music, sound effects, and narrative. Charisma encompasses both working with a team and speaking about your ideas to the outside world. And organization is all about tasks, coordinating them, and executing them. And also these are more like minimum requirements, so know that I'm not saying all knights are bad artists, but only that art skills aren't necessary to qualify for the knight build. Also, this isn't the most serious video ever, we're just having fun with it. And thank you to Blue Ocean Games for sponsoring this video. If you are an indie game dev, you are probably going to want to stick around at the end to hear about their upcoming game jam. So let's dive into these archetypes. First up is the knight. Knight is the frontliner of an RPG party, able to deal direct, consistent damage and take hits. In the dev world, the knight is the programming main. Now this may be controversial since a lot of what programmers do can seem very arcane and wizard coded, but stick with me. Someone who knows how to program is essential to the party, since they're making things move, they're setting up systems, they're creating mechanics, and generally putting together the nuts and bolts of what make the game work. In the same way that a well-equipped knight can hold their own in combat alone, a skilled programmer is all you need to create a working game. It may not be an aesthetic masterpiece, but if the gameplay is good enough, maybe it doesn't need to be. Many devs with this build come from the trenches of a software engineering job and are getting into game development as a way to have a new adventure. Then we have the Sorcerer. The RPG Sorcerer casts spells from the soul, tapping into raw creative force to produce their magic. In the same way, Sorcerer type devs tap into their artistic talents to create the aesthetic side of games. Concept artists, character designers, modelers, and animators come to mind, but also writers, composers, sound designers, and VFX artists. When sorcerers work alone, they start by dreaming about how the game will look and sound and feel. If you've ever fallen in love with a game from 10 seconds of footage, I promise a sorcerer was involved. But imagination is often limited by reality. If a sorcerer is at all tech-phobic, they're in danger of imagining something larger than they can build, or even larger than anyone can build. Then we have clerics. Clerics use restorative divine magic to keep the party alive fighting another day and turn away the forces of evil. Game dev clerics are the most underrated heroes to have on your team. They're the organizers, the project managers, the producers, and the leaders. They're the ones setting up the Trello boards, the Google Drives, they're the ones making sure everyone's on the same team and progress is progressing. The weakness of a cleric, though, can be their ability to deal direct damage. A lot of clerics aren't particularly technical or artistic, which can lead them to be very underestimated. But while the artists and programmers are heads down at their desks, these devs can be heads up, looking at the horizon for incoming threats. Their skill in communicating also makes them fantastic QA testers. I always know I'm talking to a cleric when they point out a bug and they magically remember every possible condition that could have led to its creation. Then there are spell swords. The spell sword doesn't want to choose, and you can't make them. They are going to split their time between melee and magic, and while they won't end up being as good at either as the knights or the sorcerers respectively, their versatility is kind of a skill in itself. In the same way, game dev spell swords wield both artistic and technical prowess. This is a great build for a solo dev, since they often have enough skill to make something decent all by themselves. And the crossover between disciplines can even lead to unique insight. But on the other hand, the spell swords also have both of the drawbacks of sorcerers and knights. They might be slower, they might lack polish, and they might get overwhelmed by the deeper technical tasks. And then there are rogues. Rogues are drifters, looking for opportunity wherever it may arise, whether to deal damage or just get something shiny. This is a confusing type of dev because the stat block isn't set, it's more like a way of life. Rogue devs love a project. for a short amount of time. On their own, they'll enjoy game jams, or projects just to grow their skills, or just whatever piques their interest. But as soon as it's not fun anymore, they're on to the next one. Still, this is a great way to get good, and rogues are quick and versatile, thriving as contractors who can drop into a job and get it done. Rogues might spin up a hot game design, or program a system, or integrate some software they know a lot about. Or they might be the type to juggle projects for a while to keep things fresh. The weakness here is that they might have trouble sticking to a grand vision long enough to see it through. But maybe not getting tied down is actually their strength. The Bard. Bards are known for their performance abilities, sending the output of the team to new heights with their entertainment skills. In the dev world, bards are also performers. As voice actors, musicians, Foley artists, and motion capture artists, they bring a game to life. But that's not the only place you'll find them. With raw charisma, this type of dev also acts as the face of a studio out at conventions and expos, or even here on YouTube. Now, performing is a glamorous seeming sort of work, so there's a lot of competition here. Like the rogue, the bard is rarely tied down to a single project and will even work outside the games industry in film, TV, theater, or commercials. The final class is the assassin. The assassin class has honed a single skill to the finest possible point. And I'm not talking about being really good at drawing or programming. I'm talking about fantasy architectural concept art. I'm talking post-processing graphics programmer. I'm talking adaptive orchestral music composition. It's not that they can't do work outside of their niche skill. In fact, they may have even had to cross disciplines just to carve out that niche. If all of this sounds too extreme and too narrow, remember that in the competitive AAA game dev world where high-fidelity assets and realism are the norm, having an assassin-level skill is practically the price of admission. There's no way I didn't miss something here, so what do you think? Are there any more character classes you can think of? And if you're a dev, where do you see yourself now, and where do you want to go? Either way, you'll want to go check out this Rising Tide challenge. It's a game trailer jam hosted by Blue Ocean Games, designed to discover and support small new indie teams with actually interesting ideas. And what's a bit different is that you don't need a full build at the end of this jam, you just need a trailer that uses gameplay footage to show off your idea. At the end, 10 winners will be chosen by a public vote, and 10 more will be chosen by a panel of judges, which includes a special guest judge. This time, it's the YouTuber MixinJam, who you might know. Winners will be invited to pitch for up to $300,000 in funding, which is $100,000 per person on the team, which you then use to create the full version of the game. The whole point of this project is to create a better ecosystem for funding indie games. In a world where too many publishing contracts are financially predatory, or creatively overbearing, or make you give up your IP, Blue Ocean Games just wants to give you space and time to create something great. The submission window is the entire month of May. Visit blueoceangames.com to learn more and to enter your game. Thanks so much for watching, folks, and I hope you have a great day.